Good afternoon, my faithful listeners, and thank you for tuning in to the Post-Apocalyptic News Radio, your only source for the latest goings-on in the little corner of the post-apocalyptic wasteland we call home. Today is the 3rd of June, and we are live at the bottom of the hour. Live just for you in spite of our current situation, which we will discuss in a moment. First, my contractually obligatory weather segment, that I must deliver, unless pre-approved by administrative staff, under penalty of, quote, undefined penalties to be tailored to circumstances, which, in my personal opinion, is a fancy way of saying they'll figure out penalties later. The weather. It's hot, it's summer, and the wasteland is, at this time, an unforgiving, desolate desert. The winds have started kicking up the topsoil, creating small dust storms of radioactive ash. A slightly cooler day with a high of 84 degrees Celsius, a low tonight of 69. Nice weather, all things considered, yet still no rain in sight. You can expect clear skies, so do try to stay within your shelter until nightfall. And that's the weather. I believe that satisfies my contractual obligations, yes? No? What more should you ask of me? It's hot, it's sunny, there's no rain in sight, that's the weather. Dust storms, I mentioned the dust storms. Fine. As I stated, there are dust storms kicking up fallout from the incident. They are unpredictable as they're started by the winds, but they are small and unable to cause damage to shelters. That is, the ones we've seen so far. Again, do try to stay within your shelters, leaving them be quite dangerous at present. Moving on from the weather, it's time for our daily siege report. The MCR invaded and took control of our wasteland not long ago, but the studio's defenses held. Now, a bitter standoff between your home for music and news and a society of brutes. The siege continues here at the studio. We continue to be surrounded by the MCR's very own lame mules, a name we've lovingly given them while ignoring their actual name. Led by Centurion Octavian and his second-in-command Optio Justin, they are attempting to outlast us. You may recall yesterday's broadcast was cut short by their activities. Unusual movements prompted us to prepare for an assault. However, we were delighted to see these men, shovels in hand, digging. Not in a defensive manner, mind you. No trenches or foxholes were dug. Rather, they were searching. It didn't take long to realize that they were searching for our phone lines, believing them to be buried under the ground beyond our walls. It was quite entertaining to watch, and quite nice to know that one Mr. Octavian tunes in. This, as he otherwise wouldn't have known to look so quickly. Fortunately, he only managed to tire his men and expose them to the heat of the day, for no lines exist under their feet. But Mr. Octavian, if you don't believe me, and I do know you're tuned in, I invite you to continue digging. Perhaps plant some shrubbery whilst you have your men tending to the garden. I think that would brighten the place up a bit. Since their foolhardy attempt to find our means of communication, the lame mules have returned to normal operations for now. Moving on, from our anonymous sources in the wasteland, we have some of the latest news. This story from Romulus's Glory Arena and the arena master Barbara Shepard. The arena is open for business once again, and under the close supervision of the MCR, who have flocked to the stands and the pit alike. Some of our newest fighters are men from among the ranks of the MCR, proving their skill in combat against captured wild things of the wasteland and captured persons from our own settlements. These battles with persons of the wasteland have been, in all cases, to the death. You may recall that prior to the occupation, battles were very rarely to the death, and ended when an opponent yielded, or was dreadfully, though not necessarily mortally, wounded. These changes made solely for the entertainment of our MCR guests. According to our sources, Miss Shepard is not pleased with these changes or with the MCR combatants. In her words, the killing of fighters and beasts is bad for business. Thins out the pool we can pull from, and most people don't like to watch men murder one another. Miss Shepard went on to inform us that she is treated with such disrespect from the MCR, as to be no different from a wild beast, or an insignificant thing to be brushed aside, only tolerating her for the agreement she entered into with the MCR during their initial invasion, an agreement which ultimately saved her life and livelihood, but leaves her subject to the MCR's brutish acts. To be clear, Miss Shepherd was never made aware that she spoke to one of our sources. Doing so, after all, has been made a crime. So please, Mr. Octavian, don't overreact. And that's a wonderful transition to a warning from the studio. It has indeed been made a crime to aid the studio in any way. This order from Legatus Aurelius, as we discussed yesterday. The penalty for this crime is entombment, a death most slow and terrifying. Something we should never see done to any among you, my faithful listeners. So do understand, our eyes and ears are out there in the wastes, but none from the studio should ever approach you claiming they are so. Each among our sources understands the danger of their position and the danger it may put you in, so you should never know when you're speaking to one of us. This, as only by knowingly aiding the station have you violated the MCR's decree. By our maintained anonymity, you are protected. So please remember, if approached by any claiming to represent us, they are a bona fide liar, and should likely see you killed by the brutes of the MCR if you speak to them. We'll be taking a quick break now and listen to some commercials. When we come back, we'll discuss another creature of the wasteland, or rather, this is what I would say if we had ads to run. But again, it's illegal to do business with us now, so we have no ads to air. Except for one. This from... oh my, from Centurion Octavian? My word, you know it's against the law to do business with us, sir. What were you thinking? They'll entomb you for this. Well, let's see what you wanted to advertise, shall we? It must be dreadfully important. Oh, there's a script here. Let's see. Good evening. I am Octavian of the Lame Mules. I'm camped in a large fancy tent outside a spectacular broadcasting station. I want the world to know the MCR is a dreadful organization that is rapidly decaying. Yes, in fact, we will likely turn on one another thanks to our barbaric ways, and our lack of both humanity and empathy. As well, Legatus Aurelius smells like old cheese, infested with the crawling things of the earth. Brave words from Centurion Octavian of the Lame Mules, who absolutely purchased that advertisement time. Moving on. Ever since the incident, the wild things of the world have changed. Very few beasts are as they once were. Often morphed and mutated into horrific abominations, these creatures prowl the wastes, many of them deadly, some helpful, others benign. In this segment we should discuss our wasteland's wild things. Laurie's crawlers. There are creatures that prowl in the twilight hours in groups of 3 to 4, with 5 legs that come to black, needle-like points, giving perfect traction on any surface and perfect mobility along walls. They stand no taller than 3 feet, with unique colored scales that armor their bodies, protecting their bodies from both physical harm and the radiation of our wasteland. Its legs sprout from a body not dissimilar in shape from an eggplant. Midway up this malformed body are 4 black sphere-like eyes that rest equally spaced around the body. Spurs cover this body, sharp enough to pierce the hardest armor. At its peak, on top of the beast, rests a crown of green, bulbous growths that twitch as the wind blows by. Finally, a gruesome maw that rests under the body, in a placement not unlike an octopus, but no beak should you find. Rather, a circular maw with pointed teeth and polyps within that suction onto flesh that the teeth would sink into. These creatures were made by reckless men and women, by those who would see a creature suited to survive our harsh wasteland and still protect us from the dangers that lurk in the dark. But a dreadful monster is the fruit of their labor, and now our wasteland is plagued by these pack predators. Be wary if you are traveling the wastes. If you should hear skittering about, you may yet be the prey of one of Laurie's crawlers. It is absolutely terrifying what folks can create. With the best intentions, monsters are released into our world. But I'm afraid that's going to be all of the time we have for today. It's about time for the evening radio music. But before we go, I should like to leave you with the afternoon puzzler. Did you discover yesterday's answer? I'll remind you the question was, why was the cemetery so overcrowded? The answer: everyone was just dying to get in. Congratulations to anyone who got that one. Today's puzzler is as follows. What do you call a factory that sells passable products? Think about it, and tune in again tomorrow for the answer. But I'm afraid that's going to be all the time we have. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Until next time, I wish you all the very best. And if you're truly out there, good luck.